Hi everybody, I'm Bill Sanders and this is WatchArtSci, the art and science of watch collection. Today we're going to take a look at Dmitry's well-organized collection. And the reason I call it a well-organized collection is that when I received all of the pictures, Dmitry had put down what they were used for, the percentage of time. My goodness, I've never seen such an organized collection of watches. Now, the first ones, the first category are the modern and the sports watches. The Rolex GMT Master 2, a beautiful watch. That's a honey of a watch. The Panerai Luminor Daylight PAM 188, a very, very attractive looking watch. It's got that Italian design to it. I'm a sucker for the Italian designs. And finally, the IWC Pilot Chronograph. This particular chronograph is that it has for the dates. It's set up like an altimeter. When you read an altimeter, the numbers go up and down. And when I used to fly, looking up whether we're going to make it over the mountains or what we're going to do. So this is a neat, what I'll call a layer of watches. Problem is that the PAM 188 and the IWC are both ETAs. The PAM 188 has got an ETA 7753, and the IWC Pilots it's got an ETA 7750. I think the 7750 is also in one of the bases of one of the Bremont's pilot watches. So, anyhow, the thing about it is that as much as I like that watch, and I really do, the lowest price I could find on one was $3,200. Now, $3,200, at least in my opinion, is a lot of money to spend on a watch. And if you're getting a good watch, you need a good movement to go with it, okay? And there is IWC caliber 89 361, great caliber. And it's in the IWC 3878-02, which is almost identical to this one. Now, the lowest price I found on that was $4,800. Now, $4,800 is just a little more than what you'd probably paid for your ETA version, but it's like it's not that much more, and you can really get some a cool movement. Now, one of the things about IWC, it's like it's a prize at the bottom of a Cracker Jack. So sometimes it's a good one and sometimes not so much. But they have a lot of good ones. Beside their own in-house, they have movements from Jaeger-LeCoultre. And so you have a lot of good ones. And there's probably, I think that might be something you might want to think about, is that the next time you get a watch like that, is gorgeous watch. The Rolex. People get Rolexes. They get the in-house movement. They get a wonderful watch. You can do the same thing with Panerais. You can do the same thing with IWC. So think about that. Okay. The next group of watches are described as tool watches. The first one's a Citizen. And the Citizen has what's called the Echo Drive. And an Echo Drive, there are different types of drives to power a quartz. And they've got some really very interesting things going on there. So when you see Echo Drive on a Citizen, that's sort of a special watch. I like some of the interesting things that they're doing with that. The Marathon GSAR. This is it's described as a U.S. government. And it looks like one. It looks like one you take put one of those on and hop in a tank and off you'd go, or maybe even a rocket ship. Neat looking watch. And the third one is the Sin 104. And the Sin's described as not bad. Okay, they're not great watches. They're not high horology, but they're not bad watches. They're not crummy ones. So the tool watches, even the tool watches, is a pretty nifty little collection you have. Now, on the vintage watches, to me, I was blown away by two of them. First of all is the Waltham. The Waltham used to be made right up in Waltham, Mass, and they've got a son and daughter-in-law who live there, and we're going to be going up there for Thanksgiving. And so Waltham I'm very, very familiar with. During the early days back in the 1960s, when MIT was working on a guidance system for the Apollo, they went to Waltham watches. Now, MIT is in Cambridge, and just up the road from it is Waltham. And so the watchmakers at Waltham helped the MIT physicists help them understand the process for making very fine, very accurate movements. So having a Waltham, I think, is the coolest thing in the world. That's, I mean, they still have their old factories up there. It's not in business anymore. I think they moved everything to Switzerland at some point. The Seiko 5, Seikos are nice solid watches. I like them. The Vostok USSR Grandfather's Heirloom is one of my favorite in the collection. Look at that thing. The numbers on those, the artwork in the numbers around the dial is really fantastic. It reminds me of my FP Journe. What a cool watch, and it's from Dmitry's grandfather. Oh wow, that's a cool watch. Okay, so you got the Seiko. That's just a fairly standard watch as far as I'm concerned, but that doesn't mean anything. I think the Waltham and the Vostok are fabulous. All right, next up, it's got a couple Seikos, and it's sort of the Pepsi bezel on one, and the other one looks very vintage. I'll put it that way, but not in a ripped up way. It just looks like it's been out there, and that's a cool watch too. But I really like the Seiko with the Pepsi bezel on it. Excuse me. Okay, next up, here's a guy. Dmitry really treats his wife well. Okay, he got her a Rolex Datejust, and he got her a Cartier Pasha. Neat couple of watches for your wife. I think this is part of my collection. I got my wife a Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso. I don't know if Dmitry is as bent as I am, but I consider that part of my collection. And I think these are two really good watches in a collection. Cartier. They have, especially since Cartier has moved into their own movement and so forth. I think those are great watches. They do have some with quartz, and they do have some with ETAs, but the crown on a lot of Cartiers have that really neat little jewel top on the crown, and this one has that, and I really like it. So another cool watch. This is Dimitri's really batting 1,000 here with his watch collection. I really like it. Now, this next group we usually don't have, but I think it's so neat. His daughter has all of these watches. I could just see Dmitry coming home, with a new watch and doesn't want to get hollered at by his wife, so he has one for his daughter. Just, here you go, honey. His wife, oh, how nice. I forgot about the big bucks he spent on a new one for himself. So I think it's really cool having all these little pink little gold things. Those are cool. Okay, next, there's Dmitry calls it incoming. Incoming occurs right before an explosion. Okay, so when I come home with a watch and my wife finds out, that's incoming. Boom. And here, the Explorer 1, I like the Explorer 1. And the combination of the Explorer 1 and the GMT 2, and this isn't the Explorer with the GMT, and so you got a nice little balance. This particular Explorer 1, has a little more formal look to it than the other one, the GMT 2. GMT 2 is, you're out at the bow of a ship. Let's go. Okay. What would I do with this collection? Now, if in looking at it, you got so much stuff that looks the same, okay? Here's what I would do. I'd get a dress watch. I would get one little upscale. Now you can find some really good buys. Now this Audemars Piguet, it's a vintage watch. It's a combination of yellow gold with a white gold bezel, and it's only 24.50. It's a kind of thing. It's very subtle. It doesn't shout out, I'm a big shot watch, but people who know, and that's important because they know that about every other watch you have too. Okay, something like this, I think, would really enhance your collection a great deal. But I mean, I'm not saying you got a bad collection because I don't think you do. But you need to add another dimension to it, and I think this would be the kind of direction you might want to think about because you've got some neat things already. Okay, now the before I go, let me remind everybody is that we have our new watch that we're giving away. We gave away our last one on Thursday. We have this one. This is by Skagen, a Danish company. And this particular watch is a real honey of a watch. It has a leather band. It still has the protective seal on the dial, so it may look a little unusual. But for those who have already turned in a collection, they're in the running for it. They're going to be in the drawing, except for the person who won. The person who wins, they can only win one because you want to have more than one person have it. So if you have a collection, put it together. There's still time. Now, on the first anniversary of WatchArtSci, which is in April, we're going to have our second watch giveaway, and it's going to be this brand new, unworn Skagen. Okay, you got comments. I'd love to hear your comments. Tell me what you think about Dmitry's collection. Any ideas you have for the next direction for him? He'd appreciate it too. And also too, if you'd like to subscribe, this is an invitation. You may. All right, till next Friday, this is Bill Sanders and WatchArtSci.